Aloha and welcome. Today I'm going to be hitting on a topic that I get all sorts of questions about. Why do I always crave sugar after meals? And more importantly, what must I do in order to curb my sugar cravings? Well, my friends, there's good news. It may not be nearly as difficult, or should I say as complicated, as we're making it out to be. Today, I'll be sharing 4 simple solutions that you can begin implementing immediately in order to curb your sugary cravings. But before we get started, I'd like to briefly discuss the reason we're experiencing cravings in the first place. So let's jump right in. Evolutionarily speaking, cravings were a selective advantage when food was scarce. The humans that evolved to crave foods that helped them survive, survived. It's that simple. Back then, sweet-tasting foods were difficult or impossible to find in mass quantities, and generally high in nutritional value, such as berries. This strongly contrasts the wide availability of sugar-loaded processed food products we think of today as sweets. To make matters worse, in our modern era of overabundance and marketing manipulation, we're encouraged to eat in moderation and practice self-control. But unfortunately, the practice of self-control goes against our intrinsic primal conditioning. So you may be thinking, great, so there's no hope. I'm hardwired for failure. Well, not exactly. There are plenty of ways in which you can take matters into your own hands, defeat marketing manipulation, and combat your cravings. I simply want you to understand that there's purpose behind your cravings, that cravings are essentially your body's way of communicating its needs. And once we understand the needs, we can effectively combat our cravings. So on with the needs. The following is a list of 4 simple solutions to curbing sugar cravings. Number 1, eat more fat. Number 2, reroute the habit. Number 3, lay off the starchy carbs. And number 4, get salty. Now let me walk you through each solution one by one. Solution number 1, eat more fat. Often when we crave sugar, what our body is actually asking for is more fuel. The body fuels off of glucose, meaning carbohydrates and sugar, as well as fat. Fat, we all know, is more calorically dense than glucose, meaning it's more sustainable fuel for the body. Glucose is quick fuel, and the body knows it can receive fast-acting fuel by getting a quick hit of sugar. Therefore, you can actually tame your sugar cravings by eating more fat. Now, I'm not talking about any and all fat. I'm talking specifically healthy fat. Fats such as avocado oil or avocado mayo, olive oil, ghee or grass-fed butter, coconut or MCT oil, bison or beef tallow, etc. Solution number 2, reroute the habit. Here's the thing. We all have our own particular habits, right? Some of us bite our nails when we're anxious. Others turn to booze to alleviate stress. For many of us, we're simply conditioned to indulge in something sweet after a meal. We may not even stop to consider if we're truly in the mood for it. It's just what we're accustomed to doing after a meal. The simple act of asking yourself, am I even interested in eating more food right now, can prompt serious awareness. You can even take it further and supplement a new post-meal habit, such as having a cup of tea, chewing gum, or going for a post-meal stroll to walk it off. By supplementing a healthier habit, you're effectively working to reroute your habitual tendency. Solution number 3, lay off the starchy carbs. By now, we're all well aware that white starchy carbs such as breads, pastries, pasta, rice, and potatoes lead to weight gain. But are you aware that starchy carbs also contribute to blood sugar spikes? Meaning, if your meal is not well balanced and is comprised mainly of simple carbohydrates, the result is an immediate spike in blood sugar levels. And because glucose breaks down so quickly, the blood sugar level begins to drop almost immediately after consuming your meal. And as we know, the body wants to maintain homeostasis, meaning it will attempt to acclimatize a dip in blood sugar levels by craving more sugar. And finally, solution number 4, get salty. Ultimately, the body craves balance. When we've consumed too much salt, the body will try to restore the balance by calling on sugar. The issue with salt is that it's excessively added to the majority of processed food products. And because our bodies are constantly receiving excess sodium, they're in a state of perpetual restoration. By cutting back on processed food products, swapping table salt for Himalayan sea salt, and welcoming naturally salty foods such as cheese, olives, smoked salmon, and pork into our diet, we're sure to calm our sugary cravings. Well, that's all I've got for you today. If you're interested in learning more about combating cravings with adequate nutrition, I've got you covered in my signature e-course, Breaking Up with Sugar. You can learn more by heading to https://breakingupwithsugar.museandme.com/enrollment. Thanks for joining me, and best of luck to you in combating your sugar cravings. Aloha!